Disclaimer. This presentation is for informational purposes and is not legal advice, as every claim is different. Viewing this presentation does not form an agent-client relationship with Carmela George or Jacksonville Veterans Disability Services. If you have specific questions regarding your claim, consult with a veterans VSO agent or attorney. So today we're going to be talking all about how to become a veterans claims agent, a VA accredited claims agent, which is the path to legally represent veterans in their disability claims. So just a little bit about what we're going to cover. We're going to go over the application, then the background check, and then the examination. Then I'm going to give some helpful tips about how you can prepare to become a VA claims agent. Hi guys. So I've had both veterans and non-veterans ask me how I became a VA accredited claims agent and what it's like to be one. I can tell you that I absolutely love it. I love what I do, and it's why I want to share with you the benefits and details of this little-known career path. To become a VA accredited claims agent, you must go through a formal process through the VA's Office of General Counsel. Some of the benefits: you get to legally represent veterans in their disability claims. There's a lot of firms popping up saying that they represent veterans, but they're not legally accredited by the Office of General Counsel. And eventually they're probably going to be put out of business. There's high earnings potential, and you get to work for yourself if you choose, or you can work for an attorney. It's all up to you. So let's talk a little about the process. We're going to start with the application. The application, VA Form 21A, is simple and asks basic questions about you and your education. After submitting my application by email in October 2017, it took 2 months to be contacted by phone by the VA Office of General Counsel, in which they asked additional questions about my employment history. After the call, they followed up with an email with questions on my employment history, which I answered and submitted to the VA's Office of General Counsel Accreditation Support Specialist within 2 days. The OGC representative responded within a few days, asking for 3 references. That's the basic application process. I believe it's a 3-page form. Let's talk about the background check. Every applicant for accreditation as a claims agent must go through an extensive background check called a character and fitness review. This is by far the longest part of the claims agent process and can take up to 8 months alone. Regulation requires that agents be of good character, and the VA wants to make sure you're the type of person that can be trusted with an abundance of very personal information and sensitive information for veterans. During the background check, you will be asked to provide 3 references. Your references will be required to submit a letter on your behalf about how they know you, your character, and responsibilities. On to the next part, which is the VA examination. At this point, the Office of General Counsel will make a preliminary decision on your character and fitness. If found to be fit, you will be invited to take the claims agent examination. You must sit for the examination within 90 days of this notification. Alternatively, you may request that a deadline be extended for sufficient cause. And I can go ahead and say that COVID is one of those sufficient causes. If you choose not to schedule your exam and do not request an extension, your application will be abandoned and OGC will close your file. Little more about the examination. The examination is a closed book examination consisting of 28 multiple choice true false questions. You have 120 minutes to take the exam, and you must answer 21 of those questions correctly to achieve a passing score. The topics which may be covered on the examination include compensation and pension programs, claim procedures, appeals, agents' fees, and waiver of indebtedness. We recommend studying Title 38, United States Federal Code, Chapters 111, 13, 15, 51, 53, 59, 71, and 72, and Title 38, Code of Federal Regulations, Parts 1, 3, 4, 14, 19, and 20. The questions on the claims agent examination are primarily based on the information which can be found in these statutes and regulations. If any of this sounds foreign to you, then you may want to start studying now. After the completion of the examination, your exam will be returned to Washington, D.C. for grading. If you pass the exam, you will be notified that if you do not pass the exam, you will be notified that you did not achieve a passing score. If you pass the exam, you'll be notified that they are proceeding with the final review of your application. In my experience, the exam was 28 questions and was moderately difficult. It took me about an hour to complete. I was placed in a conference room by myself to complete the exam. The exam booklet made clear that no electronics were to be used of any kind during the exam. I was also given a portion of the law which deals with ethics, which could be used for the final few questions of the exam. After completing the exam, I returned it to the office staff, who told me it would likely take a couple of weeks before I received the results. To my surprise, I was notified that I passed the exam on the afternoon of that same morning that I took it. And with that, I was officially notified that I was a VA accredited claims agent. Let's talk about the job. So yes, you get to work for yourself if you choose to, but this is not an easy job. You must be competent in VA law and regulation. You must be able to communicate appropriately and as needed to anxious veterans. You must have a seamless onboarding process, and you must also have a good filing system, as you will get a ton of mail from the VA, a ton. You must have case management skills and a case management system. In terms of training, there are various programs and options available. You must research these for yourself. In terms of salary, my experience was it took about 8 months to a year to really earn anything, because agents have to wait a 60-day period after a rating decision is made to be paid. You should be prepared for this, as there's no way around the 60-day period. And that's after a rating decision has been made, which could take months to years after you file it. Agents can charge fees of between 20 and 33% of a veteran's award on appeals and clear and unmistakable errors. But if you want the VA to take direct payments out of a veteran's back pay for your payments, then you can charge no more than 20%. With a healthy clientele, you can expect to make anywhere from $60K to $120K in your second year. Helpful tips. Number one, I would say be patient. The process does take time. Don't expect to be by any means to be accredited overnight. And right now, things are on hold due to COVID. So who knows when they will be testing again. But just be patient with the process. If you're qualified, you will get through it. The second helpful tip is turn your 3 written references letters in with your application. That will make your application go faster, and they won't have to stop and ask you for them. And then my last helpful tip is to answer any correspondence from the VA Office of General Counsel immediately. That way you keep up with your application, you keep it at a steady pace, and you don't keep them waiting, and you don't keep yourself waiting. And that's how you become a VA accredited claims agent, folks. Feel free to comment for any additional questions and take care.